but here's the NRL news. Michael Jennings cleared for NRL return, according to Mick Carianis and Brent Reid in the Daily Telegraph. The NRL have granted Michael Jennings the green light to make his first grade return after the Roosters upgraded the former New South Wales and Kangaroo Centre to a top 30 deal. Now, I'm saying this from the foot of the mountain here at Panthers Stadium, where he made his name as a junior, Michael Jennings. He only returned to the Roosters this season, Missile, on a train and trial deal. Under the NRL rules, train and trial players are unable to play first grade until round 11 unless they win at NRL approval. I think Kiraz was in that case. He had to wait for round 11 for his debut. But after impressing in his opening 2 matches in the New South Wales Cup, the Roosters have topped up Jennings' contract to include him in the main 30. Jennings was thrown a career lifeline by the Roosters coach Trent Robinson after the pair combined to be part of the club's 2013 premiership. Jennings and Robinson spoke about a potential comeback at the Roosters' 10-year anniversary of the grand final winning side last year. Conversations progressed after that event, and the 35-year-old's 3-year doping ban ended on September 21. He was suspended for using banned substances, Ligandrol and Ubutamarin. Trent Robinson on Michael Jennings. This was in the Roosters press conference.
Yeah, desire to sort of rewrite his story. Pretty simple for me that there was a carrot there to get his life and career back on track, and that was himself, but also through the Roosters. I didn't feel like he was done. He didn't feel like he was done, but he had to work for it. And that's come with high quality training and then some really good performances in reserve grade, and just getting him in and around there. He's been a Rooster. He's done some things on the field for us that we need to thank him for, and I think it's time to finish his career in the right way and rewrite it as it should have been.
Missile, Australians, I think, as a whole, we're pretty forgiving types, aren't they? People can make mistakes, but I think as a nation, we do sort of get behind them if we see that they have turned things around and they've made changes for the good. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, rugby league particularly, Shug.
Yeah.
Jennings is going to be 36 next month.
Yeah.
So he's no spring chicken. It'd be interesting to see. So he's had 3 years out of the game through his doping ban. It'd be interesting to see if, because he's had 3 years out of the game, maybe his body hasn't aged at the same rate as a normal NRL player would, because I can't think of many centres who have played up until they're 36 just because you lose speed and agility and elusiveness. So it'll be really interesting. I haven't seen his New South Wales Cup games, but I was a huge Michael Jennings fan for New South Wales, for Australia. Loved his work when he was at Penrith and the Roosters. He turned that 2013 grand final on its head. I can't wait to see him play NRL again.
That low run he'd have from 20 out and just explosive acceleration. What about his numbers? So 154 NRL tries. So we've just been celebrating, which is worth seeing, by the way. So I think it's the NRL who's posted Latrell Mitchell's 100 tries. And you go, wow, some of those tries look easy, but they're not. But 154 tries for Michael Jennings from 298 NRL games. So if he makes a comeback, he'll follow Jared Warrior-Hargreaves into the 300 club. 7 tests for Australia, 12 tests for Tonga, 18 origins, Missile, for New South Wales. There's only 3 origins a year. That's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah, and super impressive at State of Origin level as well. I loved watching him play. There was actually here on Fox League just before a great battle he had early days at the Panthers up against Justin Hodges at the Broncos, going tit for tat against Justin Hodges. Great career, and I'd love to see him get a swan song. If he could get to 300 games, that would be a great milestone to kind of, I guess, get that fairy tale finish that players of that ilk deserve.
Yep. Okay, so, well, look, wish him all the best. I know he's made mistakes, and I know people will come at us on the text line and get up on the high horse, but you know what? He's been cleared to have another crack, so good luck to him. It's going to be a mighty assignment, and he's got to work hard, so it's no gimme putt, but just 2 games away from game 300. The Dragons target Terrell May as part of a package deal with siblings. And now Adrian Prezenko through the Sydney Morning Herald. I'll get to the bullet points, but here's what Adrian had to say on the May deal with Jimmy Smith.
I think Terrell will stay.
At the Roosters,
I think he'll stay at the Roosters. That they're a fair way down the track. That could happen. That's my, if I'm a betting man. I think that's what happens. All of a sudden, part of your appeal, if you're Taylan, is no longer there to go to the Dragons. But that's not to say that wouldn't happen. I almost, it's sort of an interesting one. Do you try to get Taylan in the hope that tempts Terrell or
Yeah.
vice versa at a
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
when you've got a centre, i.e. Zac Lomax, on $800,000.
Okay, let's clear something up from the top. Firstly, Adrian Brzezinko is not a betting man, and how do I know that? Because Missile, when he bought the house about 15 years ago, in which he lives in now with his family, there was a safe, right? A locked safe that he'd stumbled upon in his house. And he'd worked out that it would cost $300 to get this safe open. Who knows what could be in this safe? And it would all belong to him, right? But he hasn't chose to spend the $300. So he's not a betting man, is he, Missile?
Oh, surely there's more than $300 worth of valuables in a safe.
Of course. You've got to roll that dice,
Yeah,
don't you?
100%. Or at least get the pickaxe out.
Yeah, you got to do something. That would kill me. Just
Absolutely.
Even if I was almost guaranteed there was nothing in there, I'd pay the $300 just for the peace of mind that I finally know what the bloody hell. But he's just dealt with this anxiety around it all this time. Back to the Mays. Okay, so as Adrian said, and thanks to the Sydney Morning Herald, he says Terrell May has a big chance of staying at Bondi with the Tricolours. But the Mays have made it pretty clear that they would love to all play together. Of course, Tyrone, Taylan and Terrell. Not the easiest thing to pull together. They've got 3 different managers, so all 3 boys, which is quite uncommon for
That's weird.
family members, isn't it, to have different managers?
Yep.
What do you think?
If I'm the Dragons, I'm signing all 3 brothers. I'm finding out are they cousins, second cousins, uncles. I will sign whoever it takes to get Terrell and Taylan. Tyrone, take him or leave him. He's had a checkered past in the NRL, but Taylan and Terrell would work wonders for the Dragons. If they have to sign Tyrone as part of a package deal, go for it. If they have to sign cousins, if they have to sign sisters, grandmas, whoever they have to sign to get those main 2 Mays, do it. 100%.
The Dragons, and if I was Flano, I would actually stop quoting on potential signings. I love Shane Flanagan, but they're getting dragged into it. It almost feels like they're being kicked around a bit. Like Joey Manu was linked to them. Yeah. Who else has been linked to them? There's been a lot of players, and they've come out, we'd like this player, or we don't like, blah, 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 blah. Flano has this to say. If they're going to go to market, we'd be interested. At the moment, I don't know if they're going to consider leaving their current clubs. If they are, we'll definitely look at it. One plays in the outside backs and is a dangerous player from a good club. Same with Terrell. He's from a good club, and I've heard Trent Robinson talk about the motor that he has. I just don't think I wouldn't be commenting I just wouldn't be commenting on potential signings. I don't see a need for it, particularly when they've been missing out a little bit. Trent Robinson had this to say on the rise of Terrell May.
Yeah, I mean, he showed talent young as a player, and then had his own issues about playing and desire there, and then he made a change in his life. North Sydney picked him up. And then he had 5 weeks with us, and he nailed those. And then he's a player. Like, his ability to go out there and perform week in, week out is serious. So he's done that for a while. And then when midway through last year, he came back in and he delivered week in, week out to the point where he started last weekend. So his development's been a really impressive sort of example of if you desire something. I don't feel like the Roosters have made it. I don't feel like North. I don't feel like anybody else other than his desire to go, actually, I'm going to get better here, and I'm going to make a stand about how I want to live my life and how I'm going to play, and then it's come out on the field. So, it's been really impressive to watch him over the last couple of years.
Yep, good story. Self-motivated, he's basically saying there, Robbo.
If I was the Dragons,
left to be.
I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I'd pay $800K for Terrell May.
Yeah?
He wouldn't get that at the Roosters, would he?
No, that may be true. What's Fanua Blake's, if he's the benchmark in that sort of position, what's he getting again?
$1 million, I think, 1.1.
Yeah, okay. 800's punchy, but I get what you're saying. And what they have, the Roosters, it's what they can do for you after the game and just your connections. And I don't know, it's a tough one. I just find it really hard to see. Well, Flano didn't really mention Tyrone, who's over there in the Super League. He certainly referenced Taylan. So what's Taylan's number then? What would be the package deal that you'd throw to the May boys? If you had to pay $800 to Terrell, what are you sending Taylan's way? Given the fact that Tungor has just been signed for 750.
Yeah, 800 each.
Oh,
yeah. I actually
5.6.
Look, I can only base Taylan May playing centre off 2 games so far this season. I actually think he looks as good, if not better, than Isaac Tungo.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's only 21, I think, Tungor.
He's a beast.
They're good
They
players.
both are. Yeah, they both are.
They both are. Gee whiz. Speaking of the Dragons, now Ben Hunt, this is quite unusual. Ben Hunt has lifted the lid on the Zac Lomax situation at the Red V. Zac and we talk quite a bit. If he's unhappy, he's not really showing it, to be honest. I'm aware that he does want to leave, but he's not showing he's unhappy. He's getting around the place with energy. He's playing really good footy. He's very open, Zac, and always asks for something if he needs it. Whether he likes the position or not, he's doing a bloody good job of it. I think he's been our best player in the last 2 weeks, to be honest. I can't fault either of his games. You know what? I had heard this, right? But when reading it back, I don't think he's sort of talking out of school. I think he's just saying what's out there. He says that he's aware he's unhappy and he wants to leave. But that's kind of out there. I don't think he was trying to out Zac Lomax. Do you, Miss Ol?
Well, is it worse than when it's one player that doesn't want to be at the club talking about another player that doesn't want to be at the club? Like the fact that they've teamed up and they're clearly talking openly with each other about probably not wanting to be at the club.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, it's their 2 best players and neither of them want to be there. One's the captain, one's on 800k playing on the wing. The Dragons are in a sticky situation, and I just get the feeling that pending how this season pans out, maybe if you just clean out players like that and restart, clear $1 million off your salary cap for Ben Hunt and 800 off your salary cap for Zac Lomax if you can, and get players that want to play at the Dragons.
Yeah, if you can clear the whole deck of that, like you certainly don't want to be paying any of that. And say, for example, if Zac Lomax wanted to leave, then if the Tigers want to pay him 600 or Parramatta for that matter, well then you just got to cop 600. You should definitely not be able to get more where you're going. And I don't see a world in which the Dragons should have to pay anything if he wants to go. That's what I think. Anyway, 1300 01 1170. Just on tricky situations, right? So if what Sam Burgess said last year was right, around his comments around what he believed was going on at the club, if Jason Demetriou, as a hypothetical, has tried to go the other way and he sided with the players, but now after an off-season, now there was a situation where, a couple of tries were scored where Latrell wasn't in the picture defensively, where you just know Dylan Edwards would be in that picture, and they are very different fullbacks, I get that. There was a break by, there was a break outside Cameron Murray, who was nowhere near it, and we know he chases everything down. There was a run by Alex Johnson, who typically would almost run the length. He got caught very, very quickly by Dean Mariner. And there was another break by Cody Walker where Adam Reynolds caught him within about 10 metres. And just with all that together, you start to go, are they ready for the season? Have they trained as hard as every other team to now? And then that's the part of me that goes, okay, well, if they haven't, then there's no chance of beating the Roosters. But if they have and it was just an off night, well, then they're every chance of beating the Roosters and coming out fire and brimstone and winning the match. But I just find that situation almost for Jason Demetriou. Like, how do you, if what Sam Burgess said was right, if you come in with a hard stick and you upset everyone, you might lose them anyway. If you give everyone a cuddle, your team might not perform. It's kind of like, how does he win in this situation, Jason Demetriou, even if he's the best coach we've seen?
I agree with you, Sugar. Here's what Jason Demetriou had to say about being 0-2 to start the season.
I'll leave you guys to talk about that. I think whether it's over the top or not, it's up to you. I'm focused on coaching the boys on Friday night. Literally can't wait. I really can't. I'm so excited.
The other problem for Jason is Wayne Bennett comes off contract at the end of the year. I don't know what Sam Burgess's Warrington contract looks like, but you could see a succession plan again setting up with Bennett back to the Bunnies, Sam Burgess as assistant coach, give him a year or two as assistant, and then he takes over. It's kind of already set up to happen. It's a worry. I don't know Jason personally or his coaching style, but the drums are beating.
Yeah, but you know what, Miss Ol, at the end of the day, and rugby league, do you remember Adam O'Brien was gone?
Yeah.
He's since signed an extended contract. The world changes really, really quickly, so he can get out of this. And I think you'll find, I'm just trying to bring this up, I think you'll find that in the Super League, he's very close to the top of the ladder, Sam Burgess. I'll get the ladder very shortly, but I'm fairly certain that he is right up the top of the Super League ladder, which is going to add more pressure. There's no doubt about that. But what do they come up with? And the other thing is, Missile, if South come out and beat the Roosters, South are equal with the Roosters on the ladder.
True. Yeah.
They are equal with the Roosters on the ladder.
It's a huge game, isn't it?
Massive game. Massive game. So looking forward to seeing that. It's going to be just one of those. What do you honestly believe? I know we have a bit of fun about all the sin bins. Do you reckon that once again we're going to see a sin bin fest, or do we see at least one person go to the bin?
Yeah, I'm putting over-unders on 1.5 sin bins.
1.5. Oh, dear. Can't wait.
I'm going to go to the game. I'm a fan of neither club, but I'm going to go to the game for the spectacle.
Okay. King of the North is our man, the Tourist. Tourist, you've got the Super League ladder in front of you?
Yeah, Warrington are joint top. 4 teams all on 8 points, with some are on 4 games, some are on 5 games, but they're joint top.
Okay, there you go. 492 says 40G. Sugar, can you talk us through how to find the feed in Sportsbet? What are you really gambling with? I can. So if you've got the app, 40G, you click on that, and you've got to go to the home page. So the home page, it's the second button you'll see. There's a little green icon saying it's new. It's called the feed. And then you look up myself or Sean the Trader, or you look up the Missile, and you can follow our tips all there. And he's actually just put one in, Sean. So in the feed, you can see this. He's just literally picked the Roosters 19 plus at $5.50. What are you really gambling with?
Wow.
So that's how you can get across his selections. By following him, you can just, anytime he puts a bet on, or I put a bet on, or you do, Missile, and these are real bets we're putting on, you can follow us in if you so